Well, hello there again. So much sooner than I thought I would see you. But you know what? This is still completely wet. It's only been about 20 minutes since I filmed the previous version. Hang on. Yeah, just checking my microphone. What I've been doing is I've been looking at this quite a lot, and I say all the time, you never have to question anything in life that feels good all the way through. It's when you have those curious question marks or the slightly concerned question mark in your body where you need to address a situation. And it's no different with painting. And you know what I realised? Despite the experimentation of new techniques and all of the excitement that I was getting from the textural effects, what is in fact emerging is something which is so similar to a lot of my previous work. So almost unconsciously, I'm creating a conscious replica of so many landscapes I've already done. And I've been walking round the canvas looking at it because, of course, as in life, if you want to look at a problem from a different angle or get a new perspective, you can literally look at it from a different perspective, just like a painting. And it's such a common problem-solving technique for artists to turn a picture upside down, look at it from different angles. And you know what? I think this, while even though it's still incredibly wet, I'm going to keep going with this. And I wanted you to be part of this process to see how I am pushing myself all of the time. I'm not prepared to settle for something that, even though this is sort of mad and it's when it's dry and I can do different layers over the top, it will have the potential to look so different. But I just feel like I want to push it further right now. You know, I'm in the mood. While the paint's wet, I can do different things with it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to turn it round. Got little markers now in the corners, so I know you can see it. Right, now, that may just take you a little while to adjust to. It's, wet paint everywhere. Totally different prospect now. If these are indeed tree forms, the roots could now become the branches, and what were the branches could become the roots. But you know what was standing out to me as I was walking around the painting? This line up here could well become a kind of horizon line, not even a kind of, a horizon line, and almost like the marks there have become structured like buildings. You know, they're very straight-sided. And I also keep seeing that pink curve through here and through there, as if that is the form of the landscape in the front. And maybe this is actually becoming the ground. And there's this amazing band of orange and yellow through the middle, which I love. And possibly the tree shapes are still going to be foresty, or maybe they're going to become something completely different. But I just feel like, you know, this is almost, and this might sound crazy to you, but this is almost too safe. It's just becoming a little bit of a mess, but which is fine. But it's also forms I'm completely familiar with. And I want to see what happens if I turn it around and just keep going with something different in mind. So I've got a few palette knives here. And what I don't want to hold back from, I don't know if you can see me, but you can probably hear me, I hope. What I don't want to hold back from is the risk of ruining beautiful areas. I know that I love this section and I love the mix of paints there, but I don't want to stop myself from doing something dramatic with the artwork to try and save those sections. And you know what, the first thing that I feel just compelled to do, which will, I've used that word quite a lot, haven't I? Being compelled to do something where you don't really know why you're doing it, but you just, like, I just want to create an archway there. Maybe that's gonna, I can reuse the paint here. It just felt like, and look how the staining of the colours underneath create this wonderful shadow effect. And that's partly why I wanted to do this while it was still wet. And I like that. So you know what? I'm going to pull that across. Now I've got rid of a huge amount of that really gorgeous paint play area, but that is getting me more excited now because I'm kind of pushing myself in a way that where I can't even find the words. I'm pushing myself and creating something new where I don't actually necessarily know whether it's going to be better or worse than the first version, but it's going to be different. And I'm feeling that's, you know, I did that huge figure 8 thing at the start. It feels like that, you know, I'm wanting to make those big sweeping curves, and the fact that that line was in underneath at the start is making me even more sure about that, wanting to create curves rather than the lines. And see, I can scrape away some of that wet acrylic I've just put over the top, and it's exposing some of the areas of yellow. There's a huge amount of paint there. What I find really helpful, great tip, have another canvas where you can put all your leftover paint so it doesn't get wasted and you just start building up layers. So that's going to be, I mean, you could have a palette, of course, but I feel like, yeah, it feels like some of this really needs to come off. And I can still see those tree structures underneath. And I loved that ancient tree shape in the middle, but not enough to keep it. And where was, oh, and that was gorgeous as well. But what happens if we bring that over here? Ooh, yeah, you see the staining. Now that is interesting. The staining of the colours underneath create a totally different look. No way, she's cutting through that gorgeous bit. The palette knife is bending with the strain. Let's leave a few little sections. Oh, but look, I'm exposing that beautiful yellow again. And you know what? It's just a painting. It's just a painting. There's always the consideration of material costs. I totally get that, and I'm not immune to that at all. But you can experiment with cheaper paints, and you can, this is such a good way to, you know, just see how uncomfortable you can make yourself feel. And if you get bits of magic which you weren't expecting, it can be so encouraging in all kinds of other areas of your life. You know, give you a little bit of encouragement just to try something new elsewhere. So what is that looking like from where you are? I mean, for the time being, it's going to create a great deal of confusion to the eye with such severe shifting and moving around. And I feel like, let's help ourselves a tiny little bit. What did I get out? Some permanent violet dark. Again, it's the, let's start on this side. It's the liquid, the fluid acrylic. Let's put a little bit of shadow back in. And it, of course, mixes and catches on the canvas in a very different way with all of the scraping off and the layering back on. So this will add in some shadow now. So possibly there's a whole different story now emerging with those sweeping, and now whatever is going on with that incredible bright section, for some reason I just feel happier. That I didn't just sit back and go, well, that'll do, even though I loved some of the effects. Yeah, exposing some of that sunshine there. That's a huge, thick layer. Let's put that on the other canvas. Yeah, you can get really amazing mixes when you scrape away acrylic when it's still a little bit wet. I'm glad I've got that border in, so I get a really nice crisp edge. And there are still some lovely areas of sort of mystery and intrigue. You know, I'm going to leave that there for now. And I love that section of yellow. And is there a little bit more of it here? It's going to be a bit muted, but scraping into that violet. Now we're starting to get contours. And again, you know what? I've done so many landscapes where I'm creating flow with the palette knife in this kind of way, scraping it on, layering it on, scraping it off. But there was something about this, obviously, I'm just going to leave that there, that's interesting. Something about this, the trees in this one, which was almost becoming too contrived, which is odd, isn't it? It's such an abstract form, but there's a very, very different story happening now with these layers. And I like that. Now, what am I going to do up at the top for that? Feels like there might need to be some, oh yeah, you know what? That is, I've just had chills on my right arm, so, which is using the palette knife. So, and sometimes I never quite know what they mean, like, oh, do something with your right arm, or well done, Charlotte, for pushing it a little bit further. But it's getting a little bit more interesting with its movement. And hopefully this will just be giving you a little bit of encouragement with being able to, you know, paint over things that you've just done. Well, that's nice, bringing that green down there. Not worrying about redoing things or losing areas that you really like, because you can recreate them. If you've done them once, you can recreate the kind of effect. Well, obviously, as I'm talking to you, I've sort of lost any conscious sense of what I'm doing, and I'm just feeling like that shape, and then bringing the green down here is a really nice thing to be doing. It's a nice movement. Sometimes it's just that simple. Hard scraping. Goodbye forest. And yet still got some very clear forest shapes. Some lovely brightness still there. Talking of brightness, let's remove a little bit of that. Bring back some of that yellow underneath. yeah, some definite layers of soft landscape. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I think there's something about the rolling hills rather than being in the forest, which is where my soul wants to be. It doesn't feel like it's in the forest anymore. Maybe there's some forest on the horizon, or there's some interest of, yeah, there's a brightness there which I can really bring to the fore. But the tangled forest, and isn't that interesting, the story? You know, I talk about these Odyssey landscapes that I just make up, but they clearly have some mirror with what's going on. Of course, they have a mirror of what's going on inside. And I've spoken about that in many of my videos, how I've learned about my own state of mind, my own state of being through my paintings and what the paintings have been saying. And there have been many forests where I've been trapped in the forest. I've known that in my life at the time, I had many pressures going on that I felt I couldn't deal with. And my paintings were really reflecting that and emulating the way I was feeling. And I obviously don't feel like that now. And as part of me was recreating this dense forest, this dense, thick forest, another part of me was going, no, that's not how I feel at the moment. So it needs to change. Now that is interesting. That is interesting to me. Oh, love it when the paint does that. That was the painter, not me. I'm just going to keep on with, I just massive blob of white there. I feel like I need to put some white across here, obviously. Let's break that up. Ooh, nice colour combinations happening there. Let's break this up. Break it up. No forest for Charlotte. Apart from the ones that I go walking in for a inspiration. Oh yeah, nice colour combinations happening there. Bring a little bit of this down. Gosh, a lot of paint in that corner. Again, of course, I can keep doing my layering. Let me just look at that from your perspective. Oh, that does look different. Oh, Fred's back. Fred's on the corner. Yeah, Fred's happy on the other canvas, it seems. Right, so with the strength of the violet and the pink tones underneath, of course, with the green and the yellow, starting to get some brown tones mixing in and some beiges. I don't want it to get too muddy, but I just seem to be compelled to be closing this gap. So something is obviously going to be happening with this in its next layer. It's clearly wanting to have open hills with maybe one section of forest for our adventurer hero to work his or her or their way through. Bringing some of that down, bringing some of this, ooh, there we go, exposing some of those sumptuous tones underneath. It's by layering on the paint over the top and then scraping it off, the canvas gets stained. And so you have all of these really interesting then colour combinations, which would be so hard to achieve in any other way without layering. Now, that is completely different. So there's clearly some sense of perspective and landscape fold starting to emerge. And although this is, I feel I need to sit down now. Yeah, I think that might be, all I need to do for now. But yeah, you know what? I'm so glad I kept going. Even though it feels like it's undone everything that was there, no layer is ever wasted with acrylic, because all of the different color combinations that are underneath that are getting exposed, these will start to create amazing subtle textures that the next layer of palette knife can adhere to. There are some areas where I've left the marks and I can choose whether to keep those exposed or they will create the shape, the underneath, the foundation shape for whatever is going to go over the top. And I do love that horizon line of very different sort of vertical shapes and the white space at the top. But this is definitely a story. You've seen this now unfolding over these 2 videos, an autobiographical tale in real time of the technical excitement, the play of trying some completely new methods of putting the paint on, using the canvas in a totally different way. And yet what was happening was an old story was coming out in the paint, the old story of the trees and being in the forest and maybe trapped in the roots. And maybe I needed to see that story to then want to open up the hills and to open up the forest and create hills and this beautiful new vista and landscape that I feel I am now addressing in my life. It's not closed in and dark and tripping over the roots anymore. There is open space, and all of my recent landscapes, I'm just looking around the studio, including the one that I filmed in real time, the semi-abstract landscape, quite recently, that it's open. Your eye and your mind can wander around the painting. But this is really exciting for me, because I've pushed myself in 2 very different directions, and I can turn the painting around and do something totally different with it again. But being able to understand why I felt compelled to work in a certain way at the beginning, and then why I wanted to change it, and being able to have the perspective to step back and realise that this is telling a personal story which I can share, as well as a technical story and a creative story. I mean, that's what art is about for me. It's the storytelling, it's showing myself, it's reflecting back to me this story of where I am at the moment, but it's also being able to share that, and maybe you can use it as a mirror for how you feel about your painting. So would you have continued with the canvas the other way up and created the forest? Would you have been, even if you felt that it was uncomfortable or boring, or there was some niggle in your head, would you have left it because you'd already spent that amount of time working on it? And I see a lot of people in that situation where you get left with paintings that you're half happy with. And I want to say, and Fred's here, Fred Fly is here to back me up, you know, take those risks and don't be afraid of undoing or having wasted time. None of it's wasted. So now it's going to look like even more of a streaky mess, but I'm going to just show you close up so you can see some of these gorgeous color combinations and then wonder what on earth she's going to do next. So here we go. And that looks so different from different angles, doesn't it? And look at the layering here with the purple tones over the green. Just really, really, really interesting colour combinations, and leaving the exposed yellow. And I've left that gorgeous bit of what was originally sky with the magenta and the white. And there are areas, there are echoes of that still there. And then the now layered, oh, looks like an eye, doesn't it? That dark purple. The layered scraping flow of the landscape, which is no longer trapping me in the forest. And we've got some tree forms there, which could definitely turn into something else, depending on the scale of what this is, how far away those are. Or maybe they will come down into the hill, who knows? And up at the top, still got those gorgeous, so there's a definite layer. I mean, maybe those trees will actually be buried under the entire finished painting, but you and I know that they were there at the outset, and it's like burying, it's like burying an old part of Charlotte who was in the forest and is no longer. But I like that bit. That's really, really intriguing. That's where it all started, wasn't it? The need to create an archway. So I like that section there. Maybe these are not hills, but just softly undulating curves in the forest, an open space. Who knows what the scale is going to be? But that has given me a great deal of satisfaction to make those changes. So be brave and have fun with your art. Bye.